Are you starting to feel like you need a new hobby? Or maybe there's a greater purpose for your life. Regardless, you might have thoughts, emotions, experiences, things that you need to share, things that you need to relieve yourself of. You're looking for a new outlet. Well, it's time to become an artist. Yo, it's your friendly neighborhood knucklehead here, and in this video, I'm gonna talk about how to become a songwriter. Even if you know nothing about music, you just have the passion that you want to be a songwriter, whether it's a multi-instrumentalist or a producer, someone behind the scenes, someone that's gonna perform on stage one day, whatever it is, we all start somewhere. Right off the bat, I want to tell you what my biggest takeaway is going to be for this video. And this is pretty much the first step of becoming an artist and the first step of kind of starting anything for the first time. The main goal here is the snowball effect. You might have a lot of energy, you might be really inspired. I know I watched a couple videos one time and I was like, I want to do that. And so I kind of made it my life's mission to save up enough money to get an instrument and start playing as fast as possible. But what we really have to do here is we have to set ourselves up for success. And that means the one thing that is going to hold us back or even bring us down in the future is going to be if we burn out. Now I'm going to put a video up here, a video card of a different video that I did about avoiding burnout. But in the case of becoming a songwriter or picking up an instrument for the first time, we have to be patient with ourselves and we have to be able to organize and pace our energy out so that we can sustain this new identity that we are beginning. Now, along with that, I want to say that taking breaks is not burning out. Even if you take a break for a week, for a month, whatever, maybe you had a bunch of tough days at work, maybe you have to move all of a sudden or something goes on, life happens. But as long as you know in your head that you're taking a break, that is very much different than not doing something because you have no motivation to do it. When you burn out, it's as if you are giving in to your lack of ego, or you're giving in to your insecurity or fear that I'll never be good at this, or this is going nowhere, I'm wasting my time, right? When you start giving in to that kind of attitude, you're gonna prove yourself right. You're not gonna go anywhere if you stop. So the main thing is when we push the snowball off the mountain, it's only gonna gather and get as big as the mountain itself, right? And you are the mountain. So if you are a big mountain, well, your snowball has a lot of time to gather momentum and gather size. But if your mountain is going to be small, then there's not going to be much that comes out of it. Keep that in mind and push a small snowball off the mountain at first. You know, give yourself a little bit of time with this. So getting into some tips here, if you're thinking about being a producer or, you know, working with more computerized sounds, I'm gonna recommend the piano as the first instrument you pick up. Obviously, there's all these MIDI controllers, things that look like piano but aren't pianos. You can get an electric keyboard for like $100, right? I had this Casio keyboard like from Target and it came with a keyboard stand, and I just needed to buy a resonance pedal when I was first learning how to play piano, and I could plug that thing into the computer and I could get any piano sound I wanted. So that is going to be a very good first instrument to pick up if you're not really sure where to go at first. Now, if you're like me and you want to do the quickest thing to get yourself on stage and jamming with your friends, or to be able to learn songs as quickly as possible, then I'm gonna recommend the bass guitar. Now, this is my bass guitar. It was a $300 Squire that came with an amp and a full stack. I since put in new pickups, I put in a new neck. This thing has really been through it. I've had this, wow, almost 11 years now, over 10 years. It's unbelievable. But that is going to be the instrument. That's what I started out with, not knowing how to play anything except the trumpet, really. So that's going to be the thing that you can pick up and pluck with your fingers, and you'll probably be playing Misfit songs or Ramones songs and punk tunes. You'll probably be playing in no time. But even after I became a bass player and I was playing with my friends and I was learning songs and I was motivated to get better and I was, you know, learning techniques and even took a lesson or two, at some point, I wanted to write songs. I really wanted to express myself more than just rocking out on stage. And so this is where I'm going to chime in with another tip, that is, you don't need to be a player to play. I would classify myself as a bass player. However, with guitar and piano, I would say I play those instruments. I'm not a piano player, right? That's not my main focus. I just play it so that I can write songs. And one of my favorite songwriters, if not my favorite songwriter, is Julian Casablancas. And Julian Casablancas was a singer in The Strokes and in The Voids, and he had a bunch of other projects and songwriting ventures that he's had. But when I've seen videos of him songwriting and stuff like that, he doesn't, I don't think he really classifies himself as a piano player or anything. He just uses these instruments to write songs, right? If you're on the producer side of this, somebody like that would be the almighty Kanye West, right? I don't know how he would describe himself, but I don't think he would, you know, reduce himself to being a piano player. I think he uses samples and MIDI controllers and all that kind of stuff to experiment with creating the sounds that he hears. So don't put the pressure on yourself that you need to be totally fluent or a total virtuoso Steve Vai, Eddie Van Halen, guitar god or whatever to be able to write songs. You really don't, and the Ramones proved that. All right, so after you pick your avenue, your instrument, what you want to do, these are gonna be my tips, and this is stuff that I've done, and also stuff that I kind of wish I did in the beginning to be able to hit the ground running a little bit. First off, I want you to think about what is in your life that is going to help you with this process, right? What are going to be your strengths and your weaknesses? And the reason I say that is because you're going to want to assess what your situation is. For example, when I was in college and I made this decision that I wanted to be a songwriter, I started thinking maybe I should take some music classes. And, you know, some colleges are going to be more cool about that than others. I ended up having to declare myself as a music minor in order to be eligible for the singing classes, the piano classes, the music theory classes. So if you are in college right now and you have that as your disposal, absolutely use that from the very beginning. If you don't have access to that, totally okay. There's plenty of other stuff to do, but if you do have access to it, don't let it go to waste. So if you're starting brand new with everything, brand new instrument, brand new outlook, and you're not in college, you don't have access to free classes in it, basically, it's all on you. Congrats, because that's how I started too. Your mindset is the most important thing. That is, like I said, the main takeaway from this, but the mindset is that you're not going to quit. And that's going to be your main motivation through this process, because it is going to be hard to learn an instrument. It's not going to be easy, but there comes a time where you get it and you realize, oh my God, all this stuff paid off. My first experience learning an instrument was in 3rd grade when I picked up the trumpet for the first time. And I could not make a sound out of that thing, and nobody in my grade knew how to make a sound out of that thing. But there was one day where I locked myself in my room and I said, I'm not leaving this room until I can hit a note. And I just blew in it and blew in it and blew in it, and I got nothing. I really got nothing. It was a total waste of effort, waste of time. And as almost a last resort, last stitch effort, I was just like, you know, forget it. And I just went and played a perfect, not perfect, but I played a low C, and I just was like, oh my God, this is it. I'm the greatest. You know, so it really, again, like I said, it starts small. Set some small goals for yourself. And without getting into the nitty-gritty of music theory and things like that, I will just say that music is a collection of pitches, right? Frequencies that we can hear. You know, if it's the high frequency, ooh, or if it's a low frequency, ooh, right? Those are actually scientifically calculated as low frequencies move slow, high frequencies move fast. You can look all this stuff up. But basically what music did is organized frequencies and how frequencies fit harmoniously together or dissonant sounding, and they feel like they don't fit. So once you start, again, pushing that snowball off to start learning about what these pitches are, how they correspond with notes, and then how the notes correspond with chords, and how you can sing on top of the chords, and what your chord progression is, and what your song is going to end up sounding like, whatever, all that stuff, like you'll get there. You'll get there. Again, start small. I can't say it enough. Something that I really recommend you do, this is going to be my last tip for your beginning of your songwriting journey, is to keep a notebook on you everywhere. I used to carry a little pocket-sized notebook, but if you can have like a composition book in your backpack and carry that everywhere you go, do it. Some of my best lyrics just came from me writing something down randomly. And when I need to finish a song and I don't have the lyrics for it, I go into my notebook sometimes. I look at things that I wrote stream of consciousness style, or things that I wrote journaling, or random poetry that I wrote when I was pissed off on the Q train in New York City. The main point is always be in a writing mindset. Always be in a creating mindset. And when you get a thought, write it down. And Kurt Cobain will be the expert and best example of, even when your lyrics might not connect with one another, they can still really, really hit hard. Don't let yourself forget about stuff. Don't think, oh, I'll remember this later. You can do the Notes app thing. I do the Notes app thing a little bit on the road. But I really think there's something different about putting a pen to paper. So that's my last tip for beginning your songwriting journey. It might be a little vague, maybe you want it more detailed, but I'll make some more videos on that in the future, hopefully, and check in on you. And I'll put up here, I'll put a video that I was talking about with avoiding burnout. And in that lane, I'm also going to put another video up here, and that's about your morning routine. And I think if you're starting the journey as a songwriter, something you're going to want to get into is learning about other songwriters. That's going to be a very big thing, and getting into people that will inspire you. If you're at this video at this point, you might as well subscribe, like the video, see when I come out with a part 2 or something on this later. Thanks for watching, and stay creative.